Hello and welcome to stage 3 of Hybrid Horsepower, where we are racing for the Ferrari SF90. I'm starting today with no upgrades. I was just pointing out there the word recommended because some people miss that this is a recommended PR event, which means that's just a suggestion. Obviously, I don't have those upgrades and it still lets me enter the race. If this was required PR, I would not be allowed to race right now. So I didn't do anything to the game. It's actually the way it works. So, not quite sure about Red Bull Ring here in this car. It's going to take me a little bit to feel it out. This is set the fastest lap, and of course we're starting on an out lap here. Now, most of the time, actually I think it's all the time, when they say set the fastest lap, you're forced to finish in first place. So if this was a really difficult stage, I'd be creating a huge gap where there'd be no cars in my way so that I could really nail that time. I don't think this is going to be difficult, so I'm not going to really worry about that. And sometimes cars can be an advantage because you could draft off them to get more speed, but usually they mess you up in the corners. Like, they just hog the best part of the corners. Like, they don't take it as wide as we do, but then they're just in the way because they're driving the corners wrong. So I'm not too worried about that. Now, I'm going to be braking probably a little bit earlier than I need to be, just because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here yet. Okay, so that was, I got back on the throttle too early. It felt like I was going too slow in that corner, so I'm going to go with the first distance marker as my braking. Actually, I'll brake earlier than that, and we'll see, is that too much or too little? Well, I'm going off track because it feels like I'm slowing down a lot. When you take 2 tires off track, it takes you longer to brake. So sometimes if you've got on the brakes too early, you can take 2 tires off track, or you could just release the throttle a bit too. That's ways of dealing with it. Sometimes we take 2 tires off track heading into a braking zone for better trajectory. So I'm watching to see what other times are set. Looks like 118 and a bit, something like that, 118. So all I'm going to do, look at this, I've got piles of time. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't finish any sooner than 118. I'm going to slow down here. I'll cross maybe 117-ish. Let's just try that. Try that out. Okay, well that was enough. So now what I have to do is make sure that no one beats my time. So I'm still going to drive this, like, I'm not going to be too crazy here. I thought I could draft this guy, which, or I didn't get a look at the name. Might have been a lady, I don't know, whatever. I'm just going to make sure that no one beats me. So I'm still going to drive pretty fast. And then if no one beats me, then I'll just slow down again and make sure that my first lap is the one that counts, because I'm only about, I think it's 0.9 seconds faster, maybe 0.9 and change. That's okay. I'm still kind of close to the second fastest. Looks like they're doing a lot of this forcing us to be first. So yeah, we'll see what that means as we get into the later stages. In a 7-stage event, it's kind of weird. There's been times where stage 5 was the hardest, but probably stage 6 will be the hardest. It's often the second last stage that's the hardest. Once in a while, it is the last stage. You just never know. So we'll just see how it goes. I don't mind a place like Red Bull Ring because there's a lot of corners and bots just aren't very good at corners. Okay, well, no one beat me. I got piles of time. I'm just going to waste a little bit. I'll cross the line after. There you go. Now I can go zip across the line. Okay. So again, really easy. I've got no upgrades at all. And as you can see, I've got the same PR as I did yesterday. I'll show you my upgrades at the end of this stage, at the end of the video. All right, so finished 2 laps in under 3 minutes. I bet you it's more than 2 laps. Let's keep a watch on that timer and see when the timer starts. Well, it started immediately. Now, you could tell on the last, on the race right before this one, I probably could have finished in 112, 113 per lap, something like that. And I was making some mistakes. So honestly, this shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's check the time as I cross the line. Let's just call that 20 seconds. So if that was 20 seconds and I'm doing a minute 20 per lap, that's 3 minutes right there. Woo, I blew it. And I can easily do a minute 20 per lap. So I'm going to do a decent job now. I'm going to try to zero in on some of my braking points here. Try to really nail those. Ooh, that's horrible. Oh gosh, guys, that's embarrassing. Okay, Now, because I blew that braking point, I'm not going to learn anything about this next braking point because I wasn't on the gas at the appropriate time. So I'm not going to learn anything here. Still, I'll try to do a decent corner. Okay, that was decent. Now I can learn about the next braking point. I'm usually going to go with the last distance marker. I'm going to go a little bit early in this car because the brakes aren't great, and well, the brakes and the grip are okay in this car. It's just that it's got really good acceleration and top speed, so that throws it out of balance. I didn't realize that this is basically built on like an F8 platform, let's say. It's basically a Ferrari F8. It's got the same basic engine, I believe, the V8. They threw in some electric motors. And so, of course, this is even more overpowered than the F8. Doesn't have active downforce. So no wonder this thing feels this way. But you know what? I don't mind it. It's like someone was mentioning, this is more realistic. I totally agree with that statement. This is probably how this car would feel. So, that makes sense. It's not a super high-end race car. It's a road car. So, that's cool. I get it. And I was just kind of hoping for a little bit more, but oh well. But I mean, that P1 that's in front of me, it's got a massive dynamic spoiler. So, of course, it's going to have some better grip. I decided that maybe I'll just stick with this guy. I don't think I have much to worry about. I'll follow him for a while, push him around. I don't want to finish further than 5th place if I don't have to, but we'll see what they do. They're doing a lot of weird stuff where they're crediting me with getting 1st place when I didn't get it. Now, of course, I understand that when it comes to something like set the fastest lap. That makes sense, because if you're racing for pole position, you set the fastest lap, you got the pole, you're in 1st place. No problem there, I get it. Well, clock is winding down. I might have to pass this guy. You don't want to stay on someone in the corners because they'll actually slow down a lot. Obviously, I've been pushing him. I can stay behind him. In fact, I can slow down more. Might as well waste a bit of time, finish as close to 3 minutes as I can. I don't want to fail. I mean, whatever. I left 2 and some seconds on the clock. No big deal. Inconsequential. Consequential? Yes, inconsequential. Oh boy. Forget it. I'm getting tongue-tied, guys. Okay, let's move on. Now, there we go. Tailgate Ahmed for 1 minute and 30 seconds. So 90 seconds. Now, this could go one of two ways. What should happen most of the time is when I'm done tailgating him, the race will just end. Now, what I'm hoping to do is get in front of him and slow him down so that when the race ends, I'm not in even 2nd place. So this is tricky. Is that an FXXK or an FXXK Evo? Either way, that's an FXXK for sure. I don't know if it's an Evo or not, but that is a monster. There's no reason for me to be passing this guy and blocking him. That's an absolute monster of a car. Okay, I'm not going to hold him back too long. Okay, I'll let him go. Where is he? Come on, man, go. Need to get behind you and tailgate you for a while. So it's not drafting, it's just tailgating. So you need to stay within a certain distance. I'll shut down that Senna from being on my inside. Now he's going to speed off, I think. Let's see. Yep, he's taking off on me. Yeah, that's what you'd expect for an FXXK. He's better than me in every single metric, every single spec. So I'm smashing him to actually throw him off to slow him down. Oh, nuts. All that really did is guaranteed I'm going to be slower and looser, but still, if I can mess him up enough, you can do funny things in stages like this. Like if there was a barrier, we could get him trapped behind a barrier and then just trap him there, and all my tailgating would actually, not tailgating, well, I think they did call it tailgating. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, tailgating, not drafting. Okay, now that was really nasty, but it works. Now I'm going to make him spin. I'm just, look at this, it's still counting, even though I'm kind of getting some damage. Oh, way off track, that's horrible. Do we get a minute in here? Oh, I didn't quite get a minute yet. Well, I better be careful. So, I'm in 10th place. This would be fabulous if I finished the race in 10th place. I know that sounds stupid, but it's good for bot management. I can't slow them down at this point. All I can do is manage them. You can only do bot slowing when you are at or above recommended PR. Because I'm below recommended PR, boom! I can do nothing more than try to keep the targets where they're at. Where'd he go? There's Ahmed. Whoa! Okay, well, we're way back here. I'm now in 13th place, and I don't have that much more tailgating to get in. 14.2 seconds. So that shouldn't be a problem. I gotta be careful here. I don't think I'll catch him. Oh, maybe. Oh, no. Just be careful. Getting some in here. I'll be able to smack him again right here. And I might get the rest of it in right here. The race would probably end, but it shouldn't give me first place. I was in like, what, 13th, right? What? Well, that makes no sense at all. Oh, you fire monkeys, you're kind of making me mad. There's no reason for you to put me in first place for that race. Sorry, guys, but that's stupid. Oh, well. Moving on, whatever. I'm not going to waste that much energy on it. Okay, so let's test the off track. Ugh. I'd call that half a second. So I like to do that when it says no off track. It usually doesn't literally mean it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes like 0.01 seconds and you're going to fail. So what that means is if you get a little bit sloppy on one corner, you're okay. Or if you're cutting a little too aggressively, like cutting the last and first corners are important here. I don't want to cut them so close that I'm off track, but I want to shave as much as I can. Like, I'll show you what I mean here. So you want to shave that, really get on the throttle here. I don't know. I don't see Ahmed anywhere. I don't see any indication that he's anywhere near me. So I'm a little concerned. I'm going to drive this really aggressive. See, that was not off. I don't think that was off track. Extremely close. You can have your right sides way off track and it's not considered quote unquote off track as far as the stewards are concerned or the race regulators. But when it comes to car damage, anytime you have any tire off track, you are going to be wearing down your car quicker and you're going to be using up your clean race bonus. You'll get penalized. So it's kind of interesting how that works, how the game, parts of the game interpret it differently. So as far as clean race bonus, any tire off track is damage. As far as off track penalties are concerned, as long as you have one tire on track, you won't get a penalty. That sounds kind of crazy. So obviously I'm kind of figuring this car out. Now, let's talk about braking points and driving without any assists on them. Because some people think you have to learn every single track in every single car, and that's not true. Once you learn a car on one track and you know most other tracks, like now that I know where my braking markers are at this track, I have a decent idea what to do at every other track because I'm familiar with the other tracks. So once you drive a car for a while, you kind of think of, okay, this is kind of like blankety blank car. It's kind of similar to that. And so I'm braking, this far back. So that means if I was at, if you were at Le Mans, for instance, I'd be going with probably the first braking marker as I'm reaching the first chicane in the Mulsanne Straits. And, things like that. You get reference points. Okay, so there's Ahmed. Now it says I need to pass him really cleanly, no damage. So I'm not going to risk touching him at all. This might end the race right now. Let's see. Yeah, either way, I'm going to get first place. I'm kind of getting annoyed, to be honest with you. But there we go. That is it for stage 3. No upgrades at all. Rewards screen will follow. Here's a playlist link and some other videos you might find interesting. Please like, subscribe, and join me for the rest of the series. Bye-bye now.